Hello, this is Justin Carlson, and in this lesson we're going to go over the basic functionality of the Smartboard, create some activities, see how to download activities, and save activities. And then we'll cover the practice activity for our web-based instruction course that you will need to complete and upload. First thing I'd like to talk about are the learning goals for this session. The goals are when you complete this session, you'll be able to describe the basic functions and capabilities of the Smartboard software and the hardware. You'll be able to understand the smart hardware and software relationship. A lot of people are not aware of the difference there, have a trouble differentiating. We'll create a new and save a Smartboard software file. We'll do some basic content creation, making a very simple activity, and then we will also use some online resources to be able to download and adapt a Smartboard file. And then last, we'll go over the practice activity that I'd like you to do for this web-based instructional course. Okay, the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Smartboard hardware. Smartboard hardware is just that. It's the physical, not on a computer, external pieces of hardware that interact with the software, which we'll talk more about in a moment, that you use in your classroom to do the instruction. So this is an example of the components of a Smartboard. As you can see here in the top area, this is a projector. These models can vary greatly, but this model is a projector that mounts on this extending arm, and there's a light and a lens in this part, and then the body of the projector with the speakers are in this area. This is an older model. This happens to be the model we have at my school. You may be familiar with a projector with a mirror here that reflects back on the screen. Or you could have the projector mounted in your classroom on the ceiling, or it could be on a AV cart. There's a variety of different configurations for the projector. The main area here, this is the Smartboard Interactive Whiteboard. It can be used as a whiteboard with dry erase markers. Some people don't recommend that, but it is designed to be used that way. But it's also designed to be used with the Smartboard tools. So this is a touch-sensitive surface, as you can see labeled here. Anywhere in the white area that you touch, it tells the software that registers that you've made a touch and does whatever is appropriate. A connection panel. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but in this course, we're assuming that you have the basic configuration and your computer is hooked to your Smartboard and the projector works. But those connections would happen right here. Control module. This is a power button, a volume knob. Again, these can be different between the models, but generally they have a power button and a volume knob, and a button to access the on-screen programming, and a couple others. There are styluses across this little tray right here, and there's four that represent 4 different colors: black, red, green, and blue. And when you lift those pins up to mark on the Smartboard, they're not truly pins. They're kind of a special, almost like a mouse kind of piece of plastic. And when you touch the board with those, the software recognizes if it's the blue pen, then it knows to put down blue color. And then in the middle is an eraser, and this does not really erase anything, but it's a virtual eraser, and erases what you put down with these virtual pins. Also, generally there's a button here with a question mark on it. That brings up a set of tools, and one real important tool I'd like to talk about in the next slide is the orientation screen. You may have had this experience with a Smartboard where you touch in a certain spot or use a pin and it doesn't recognize where you've touched, or the pin is not where you're marking. That is a key issue, and it's important to make sure that your Smartboard has run the orientation utility on it. Again, on the Smart hardware on that tray, there'll be a button with a question mark. When you push that, you'll have the option to align the board. And basically what you do when this screen comes up is to click with your finger or with the pin right in this middle area, and then it will move to the next one, and you do that for each of these until the software's been calibrated. You may have done something like this for your smartphone, if you have a laptop that's a tablet, or you also do it from the Smartboard. So one key point about the Smartboard, and you may have picked up this already, is you do the entry using your finger. You'll actually touch it, or a student will touch the board, or you'll touch the board with a pin. Pin being one of these stylus that are integrated with the hardware and the software, and the Smartboard recognizes and is able to record with those. Okay, so that is an overview of the basic hardware, touch sensitive surface, some stylus across the bottom that are not actually ink pens, but they're the virtual pins. Make sure that you align your orient your the hardware so that the computer knows what you're doing, and you'll have a more accurate input and a better experience. And then next I'd like to move on to talking about the software. So there's two components to Smart, and this touches on one of my first goals for this session, and that is you want to definitely know there's hardware, these physical pieces, and there's software. Okay, and this version we're talking about today is Notebook 11. You may be still using 10, and certainly there'll be a new version out very soon. I'm just going to run quickly through the components of the Smart software. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is the Smart software, and across the top are a series of menu items. Then there are these icons which allow you to do a number of things. And then down the left-hand side here are some more navigation buttons. We'll talk about those, and then you'll actually see the pages of your Smart software right here. So starting at the very top, just basic that across all types of softwares: file, edit, view, insert, format, some basic things that you'll be interested in. Under Draw are some real valuable tools, particularly group and ungroup, because you'll need to use those quite a bit when you're creating things. Okay, when you're in this area, you'll see these icons right here. This will, if you hover over any of these icons, they'll pull up a little tooltip to tell you what they are. This will allow you to move between the pages, forward and back, create a new page, delete a page, undo, open a file, save a file, view screens. That'll be if you want to zoom in, a couple of different things. Here's the clipboard option to paste something, to do a screen capture of the whole screen. If you're hooked up to a Smart Document camera, you can use this. The measurement tools, which are pretty interesting, we're not going to touch on those in this session. How to insert table. There's a window screen function. If you have the math tools, this button right here will take you to the math tools, and then your basic design tools over here, the selection area, the shapes, more shapes, how to fill a box, the different types of pins that you can use. You can actually select the pins through the software versus just the hardware. If you're going to type text, there's a text tool. You can create lines, and here's the eraser I talked about earlier. One nice button they've put on the Smart Notebook 12 version of the software is this button right here for Smartboard Exchange. And when you click on that, it actually launches a web browser and allows you to go to the Smartboard Exchange, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Down the left-hand side of the menu, there's a couple of different viewers here. So on the top tab are the actual pages that I've created in my Smart Notebook software, and the next page is the pre-configured lessons that come with the Smart Notebook software, or anything that you make yourself. So if you make something, you can save it as a gallery item, and it'll be there every time. You won't overwrite it, you won't be able to damage it or delete it in any way. You can drag it to your work area over here, work on it, and then it will never be lost. I do want to bring to your attention there are a lot of free things, free tools for the Smartboard in general, but some of them come built in. The Lesson Activity Toolkit 2.0 is a very useful tool. It's been recently created or recently added to the software. And again, it's kind of outside the scope of this lesson, but if you will, you can drill down just the basic Windows Explorer format here of folders, and you press the plus sign and it opens up more folders, and you can look through all kinds of pre-configured activities based on subject, arts, English and language arts, mathematics. So we're going to click on English arts here, and then we have grammar, just a variety of topics and activities already created. So vocabulary, and then in the lower screen down here you can actually see what that content is. And in this instance they just have a lot of different pictures with the words to describe what those pictures are. So it's some really useful tools. Some of these are very complicated and interactive, and some are more basic, anywhere from a sound file that pronounces the sound of a word to pictures of a word, just a variety of topics here. If you attach pictures and things that you want to use frequently, they can be under this tab. You'll be familiar with this if you use PowerPoint or some other design programs. How you can fill a page. You can actually record your page to save it for later if maybe you're working through solving an equation or writing doing some prompts that you want to not have to rewrite, but you want them to kind of move forward in a series of steps. You can record those. So those are the basic tools of the Smartboard software. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which will be some resources that are available. One of the resources that's very useful if you do not have a Smartboard or a Smartboard software rather, but you'd like to practice, and you can use it for this lesson and in your classroom. It's called the smarttech.com. I'm sorry, express.smarttech.com. And when you click on when you go to this URL, it brings into a web browser the Smartboard software, which is very useful. You do not have to have a Smartboard, and you do not have to have the Smartboard software. They'll let you do a limited subset, but create a fully functional Smartboard activity. And another resource is the Smartboard Exchange, called exchange.smarttech.com. There's a lot of resources here. There are a lot of resources all over the web by different school systems and institutions that create Smartboard activities, but this is the Smartboard actual site. So these are tested, generally pretty good quality, and they absolutely work with Smartboard. You do have to have a free registration to download anything, but it's free. It just takes minutes. I did it before this class started. I do want to talk about two things: how to make a new activity and how to download. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the practice activity and demonstrate how you're going to upload that.